Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max are both fantastic phones, and they have a lot of similarities, but there are some differences as well. And so I wanted to help you decide which one would be best for you. And so the first thing is the price. The iPhone 12 Pro comes in at $999 and goes all the way up to $1,299. The iPhone 12 Pro Max is $100 more for the same storage options, so $1,099 up to $1,399. You can get it in 128 gigabytes, 256, or 512. And it comes in 4 different colors this year. Last year, they had a green color. That's now gone and replaced by this new Pacific blue color that I have here. You also have silver, gold, and graphite. Graphite is just a replacement name for space gray, but they basically look the same from year to year. Now, obviously, you have a very big size difference between the two of them and a weight difference as well. The iPhone 12 Pro is 6.66 ounces or 189 grams, where the iPhone 12 Pro Max is 8.03 ounces or 228 grams. It's definitely heavier. You feel the difference, and it feels much larger in your hand this year because the edges are squared off. The edges are stainless steel this year, and you have the same sort of layout you've had every year. So you have a stainless steel edge, glass front and back, and you have your power sleep wake button on the right hand side, followed by your 5G millimeter wave antenna in the United States. So not everyone gets this, but it's for millimeter wave if you have that, specifically Verizon or AT&T. On the bottom, the speakers are the same, although you have a couple less speaker holes this year, just on the smaller size. So it's sort of symmetrical, 4 versus 3 when it comes to the microphone, and 5 versus 6 when it comes to the speakers. Now on the other side, on the left-hand side, again, you have the exact same thing. So you have your volume buttons, your silent switch, and your SIM card tray, and they're in different spots this year. And you can see the edge of this is an absolute fingerprint magnet, and you will have to wipe it off often, but the back, being that it's matte, doesn't have that issue. Now, obviously, one of the biggest differences is the displays, and the displays are very similar as far as their overall pixel density, but the iPhone 12 Pro is 6.1 inches or 2,532 by 1,170 pixels with a pixel density of 460 pixels per inch. The iPhone 12 Pro Max this year gets a 6.7 inch display, the largest display ever on an iPhone, and it's 2,778 by 1,284 with 458 pixels per inch. They both have fantastic viewing angles. They go super bright, 800 nits of brightness at normal brightness, and then 1200 when playing back HDR video, and they both look fantastic. Both of them do use PWM to control the brightness, which means the screens are flickering, even though you can't see this with your eye. But they do flicker, but they're at a high enough rate this year where they don't bother my eyes at all, where they have in the past. So if you had issues with that, you really shouldn't see a difference now. The other big difference between the two of them, other than weight and overall size, is the battery. The iPhone 12 Pro has a 2,815 milliamp hour battery, and the 12 Pro Max has a 3,687 milliamp hour battery. And that battery does make a difference when it comes to overall screen on time and usage. When you're using your phone day to day, the iPhone 12 Pro will get about 6 hours of screen on time, depending on how you're using it. With the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you can expect closer to about 11 or 12 hours of screen on time with normal use. This is my daily phone here, and you'll see if I go back a few days, depending on the day, it's going to vary greatly. But generally, I'll get about 10 hours of screen on time, 3 hours and 49 minutes of screen on time, 16 minutes of screen off time, and I used it about a quarter of the battery. So it lasts throughout the day. The iPhone 12 Pro in my normal use, I got 5.5, 6 if I was lucky. So I use it the exact same way. You can see I have the same icons and everything. So I used this one, the 12 Pro, swapped the SIM card to the 12 Pro Max, and then used it that way. Now, when it comes to the cameras on both of these phones, the forward-facing camera is identical in every way. It looks great. Does 4K 60, has HDR, but the rear cameras are a little bit different this year. The camera module in the 12 Pro Max is much larger. As you can see here, it's a bigger overall, which allows for a 47% larger sensor on the 12 Pro Max. That allows better detail and low light when you're taking photos and video. So that could be a huge advantage, although we're not seeing a huge difference yet. But as you can see in these photos, from the main camera, we have a 1.6 aperture. There's nice depth depth of field, but you can't really see the difference unless you zoom way in. So there's not a huge difference here. But one thing you do get that's a little bit different, on the 12 Pro, you have optical image stabilization, which actually makes the lens itself float. On the 12 Pro Max, it's actually image stabilized via the sensor, or sensor shift optical image stabilization, similar to that of the mirrorless camera I'm recording to now. The sensor itself is larger and on a float. That way the lens is not sort of jiggling around all of the time, so the sensor moves instead, which usually ends up being a better way to do that. You also have ultra wide, of course, and telephoto, but the telephoto is different on the 12 Pro Max as well. It can go up to 5x optical zoom when punching into the sensor, where the 12 Pro can go up to 4x. You can zoom in digitally as well a little bit further, but the difference is very small. So because of the overall sensors and things, the major difference is with the main camera with the larger sensor. Now both have LiDAR, which helps for better depth of field and night portraits and also augmented reality. And then both of them record in 4K 60 HDR, which is really incredible. I recorded my 12 Pro Max review in HDR. If you want to see that, I actually uploaded it in HDR. So if you have an HDR capable display, you can see it, but you'll see the option 4K 60 and down here HDR. So you have the HDR option, which is really impressive, and it does a great job. Now, other than what I've already mentioned, everything else is the same. You have the same Face ID sensor. You have the same water resistance, IP68, 6 meters for 30 minutes. You have the same A14 CPU with 6 gigabytes of RAM, which means the phone is super fast, has great memory management or RAM management, and also you get the same fast charging with MagSafe. So both of them support MagSafe this year, where it will fast charge in a line itself using the MagSafe adapter and charge at 15 watts. However, if you use a wired charger with a 20-watt adapter, you can charge 50% in 30 minutes on either. It will slow down after that and take about an hour and a half total to charge depending on your phone. And so both of these are very similar, and it really comes down to size and battery life, I think, for most. While the cameras are different, and I think in the future we'll see more improvements with the larger sensor on the 12 Pro Max, right now it's very, very close, and I don't think it really matters to a whole lot of people. The 5G is the exact same. You get the same speeds, the same quality connections with a Qualcomm modem, and the major difference is size and battery life. So if you really want a lot of battery life, then I would go with the 12 Pro Max. If the battery life doesn't matter as much and you want something that fits in your hand a little bit better, well, then I would go with the 12 Pro. Both are excellent phones, being that they're within $100 of each other. That extra $100 may make a difference for you as well. So just keep that in mind, but really they're very, very close. And the camera is a little bit better this year in the 12 Pro Max. Otherwise, there's no difference whatsoever. The same speakers, the same microphones, the same reception, just size, battery, and the cameras are the major thing. Now, hopefully that helped you decide which you should choose, whether that be the 12 Pro, the 12 Pro Max, or maybe even sticking with a different phone or going with something else. Hopefully this helped you out. Let me know in the comments below if you picked one of these up, which color and which storage size. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Of course, if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.